Kyber versus Lecter. Lecter is a dueling monster. With his Deckmaster ability, Yugioh, and his Imperial Order trap, he floodgates the absolute living crap out of Kyber, shutting down his ability to use 2/3 of the game's mechanics. Yet somehow, despite the fact that Kyber can't use any spells or any traps, he still wins the duel. And that made me wonder, really? You couldn't win with such a broken board? So for today's video, we're going to take a look at this duel, see if any alternative plays could have led to a different outcome. Could Lecter have won this duel? Well, we won't know unless we jump into the duel. Before the duel begins, each duelist chooses their deckmaster. Unbeknownst to Kyber, Lecter chooses himself, Yugioh. His deckmaster ability is it negates the effects of all face-up trap cards the opponent controls and then destroys them. Arguably, top 3 deckmasters of the season, by the way, very strong. Kyber chooses his Lord of D. Its deckmaster ability is once per turn you can pay 500 life points, normal summon 1 dragon type monster in addition to your normal summon or set. Decent, but just not as good as Lecter's. And so, with the deckmasters chosen, the duel begins and Lecter goes first. He draws, and his opening hand consists of Hero Shadow Scout, Solemn Wishes, Seebeck's Blessing, Life Absorbing Machine, Mask of Perplexity, and Imperial Order. Lecter sets his Hero Shadow Scout, Solemn Wishes, and Imperial Order face down, and ends his turn. It's Kyber's turn, and he draws. His opening hand consists of Spear Dragon, Giant Germ, the Wicked Worm Beast, Crush Card Virus, Polymerization, and Defusion. Kyber immediately goes on the offense. He summons his Spear Dragon into attack and then enters his battle phase. He orders Spear Dragon to attack Lecter's sect monster. It is destroyed, and due to Spear Dragon's effect, it deals piercing battle damage. Lecter takes the first damage of the duel. However, following this, the flip effect of Hero Shadow Scout activates. Kyber must now draw 3 cards and reveal them. If any of the cards drawn are spell cards, they are sent to the grave. Anything else, he gets to keep. And so, Kyber draws and reveals Cave Dragon, Double Snare, and Magic Reflector. The 2 spells are sent to the grave, and Cave Dragon is added to Kyber's hand. Real quick, Hero Shadow Scout is not a good card in this duel. Lecter really shouldn't be using it. Why? Well, it's because you're potentially letting your opponent add up to 3 cards to their hand. Worst case scenario, they draw 3 traps or 3 monsters or some combination of the 2, they just go +3. The only reason you would want to play this card is if you're playing like a mill deck, you're trying to deck out your opponent and they're drawing 3 cards every time this card flips up, so it's not that bad. But Lecter's not playing a mill deck, he's playing a control deck, and we don't need to get rid of spells from Kyber's deck. We want him to draw into more spells because that means he can't use them because we've got a face down Imperial Order on the field. So yeah, kind of a weird card to have in the deck. It's not a misplay, but I would just advise not to play this in the future. Also, another fun fact, Cave Dragon, the card that Kyber's just drawn, is a weird monster. It can't be summoned to the field if you already control a monster, so it has to be the first monster you summon. And then, if it's the only monster on the field, it can't declare an attack. So if you wonder why Kyber doesn't summon this monster, it's because he literally can't unless he's got an empty field, which you won't have for the rest of the duel. So fun fact, by the way. Anyway, since Spear Dragon declared an attack, its effect activates, which switches it into defense after battling. Kyber ends his turn by setting Crush Card Virus face down. As his turn comes to an end, Lecter activates his continuous trap, Solemn Wishes. Now, while this card is face up on the field, Lecter gains 500 life points anytime he draws a card. Speaking of, it's back to Lecter, and he draws Cyberjar. Due to Solemn Wishes, since he drew a card, he gains 500 life points. Lecter sets his Cyberjar face down, along with his Mask of Perplexity, and ends his turn. It's Kyber's turn, and he draws a mysterious card. This card and the card he's going to draw on his next turn will both be mysterious cards. Why are they mysterious cards? Because he discards them in a minute. I'll talk about what they are later, but they're not important for the time being. Kyber summons his Giant Germ into attack. He then switches Spear Dragon back into attack mode. Kyber enters his battle phase and attacks Lecter's set monster with Spear Dragon, hoping to deal piercing battle damage. However, in response, Lecter activates his set trap, Mask of Perplexity. This card can only be activated in response to an opponent's attack. It switches the attack target to another monster the opponent controls. Spear Dragon's attack is redirected to Kyber's own Giant Germ. It's destroyed, and Kyber takes self-damage. Now, while this might seem like a bad thing for Kyber, and it kind of is, he doesn't actually mind, because all the criteria has been met now to activate his set trap, Crush Card Virus. Since a dart monster with 1000 or less attack has been destroyed on his field by battle, now he can rip every monster with 1500 or more attack from Lecter's hand and deck. As well, while Crush Card Virus resides in Kyber's grave, Lecter cannot summon any of the cards sent to the grave by this card's effect. Or at least this would have been the case if not for Lecter finally revealing who his deckmaster is. Yugioh. Now, due to its deckmaster ability, Kyber's trap cards for the remainder of the duel just simply don't work. Crush Card Virus is negated and destroyed. Due to Giant Germ being destroyed by a battle, its effect activates. It burns Lecter for 500 damage and then summons a second copy of itself from the deck. Finally, since Spear Dragon declared an attack, it switches itself back into defense mode. Kyber ends his turn. It's Lecter's turn, and he draws a mysterious card. Solemn Wishes boosts his life points by 500. Lecter then sets his Seebeck's Blessing and Life-Absorbing Machine face down and ends his turn. It's Kyber's turn, and he draws another mysterious card. Now, despite the fact something bad happened on the last 2 turns when he attacked with Spear Dragon into a face-down monster, he's gonna do it again. Third time's the charm, right? Kyber switches Spear Dragon into attack and attacks Lecter's face-down monster, hoping to do piercing battle damage. The attack is successful. Lecter's face-down Cyber Jar, along with 1400 of his life points, are destroyed. Unfortunately, Cyber Jar has a nasty flip effect. When flipped, it destroys every monster on the field, and then both players reveal the top 5 cards of their deck. All level 4 or lower monsters revealed are summoned to the field in either face-up attack, face-up defense, or face-down defense. The remaining cards are added to the hand. Cyber Jar destroys Kyber's Spear Dragon and Giant Germ. Lecter and Kyber each reveal the top 5 cards of their decks. Lecter gets Injection Fairy Lily, Watch Tranquilizer, Spring of Rebirth, Emergency Provisions, and a mysterious card. He summons Fairy Lily into attack. Kyber gets Vorse Raider, Twin-Headed Behemoth, Thunder Dragon, Hyo Zanryu, and Pot of Greed. Kyber summons Vorse Raider into attack, and then Twin-Headed Behemoth into face-up defense. The rest of the cards are added to both players' hands. However, since they were added and not drawn, Lecter doesn't gain any life points from Solemn Wishes. As well, since Giant Germ was destroyed by card effect and not by battle, its effect also doesn't activate. Kyber, with no more plays, ends his turn. As he does, while not shown to the audience, he is actually forced to discard 3 cards here, since he has ended his turn exceeding the 6-card hand limit. With 9 cards in his hand, which I'll remind you are the Wicked Worm Beast, Polymerization, Defusion, Cave Dragon, Thunder Dragon, Hyo Zanryu, Pot of Greed, and 2 mysterious cards, Kyber discards Thunder Dragon along with the 2 mysterious cards, which I can only assume are trap cards since they're dead now for the rest of the duel. If I'm gonna have to pick what they are, I'm gonna say Ring of Destruction and Attack Guidance Armor. So he threw these 2 away with Thunder Dragon. Was this a good choice of cards to throw away? Well, the traps, yes. Thunder Dragon, not in my opinion. From Kyber's perspective, rather than dumping all these cards in the grave, the right move here would have been to keep Thunder Dragon, go into main phase 2, activate Thunder Dragon's effect, discard it to add 2 other copies of Thunder Dragon from his deck to his hand. Activate Polymerization, make Twin-Headed Thunder Dragon. This means we now have a 2800 attack monster to help us defend with. So would this have been a good play? No, because he's got Imperial Order face down on the field. This entire play would have just got negated. But Kyber doesn't know that, so this would have made sense to be the right move to make. Should he have gone for it? Probably. Maybe get rid of the Defusion, and then he still gets to keep all the, because he needs dragons for later for the Spirit Ryu play. So the same also applies for Kyber not activating Pot of Greed here. First of all, his hand is very big with 9 cards now going to 6. Probably using Pot of Greed is a bit of a waste here. And with Imperial Order, which he doesn't know it's there yet, it would have been a dead card. So this is like the only time I'm going to say this, but Kyber not shotgun activating Pot of Greed, we're going to give it a pass. This is the one time where it's absolutely okay not to activate it. However, ignoring all of this, there is a very easy play Kyber could have done to win on this turn. And that was just to simply summon his Twin-Headed Behemoth into attack as well, and use Vorse Raider to attack Injection Fairy Lily, and then Twin-Headed Behemoth directly for game. These monsters were summoned in the middle of the battle phase. They haven't declared an attack yet. Attack with them. He's left his Injection Fairy Lily in attack mode, so they got like 400 attack points. But what about Injection Fairy Lily's ability to increase his attack by 3,000 if he pays 2,000 life points? He doesn't have enough. He's only got 1,700 life points, meaning both attacks would be successful. Both of the back row doesn't actually stop him, so Kyber, yes, would have won the duel this turn. So why didn't he do this? Well, I think there's two reasons. First of all, later in the duel, Kyber comments about being nervous attacking into Fairy Lily in case Lecter restores his life points with his set traps. While not stated here with 3 set cards, I don't blame Kyber for being cautious. However, in this case, he would have got away with it. Alternatively, there may be an unwritten effect that prevents monsters summoned by Cyberjar being able to attack on the turn they are summoned. My evidence for this is in the 3 other times that Cyberjar has been used, no one has ever declared an attack on the same battle phase or whatever that they were summoned in. So yeah, I guess you just can't attack with these monsters. Why? It might be a carryover from the manga where special summon monsters have summoning sickness, but other than that, I have no idea. Weird, could just be a translation thing. So regardless, we'll give Kyber a pass here. No misplays from me. It's back to Lecter, and he draws Fire Princess. He gains 500 life points thanks to Solemn Wishes. Lecter activates his Watch Tranquilizer spell. This card decreases the attack of a monster by 100 for every level it has. He uses it on Vorse Raider to lower its attack to 1500. Lecter moves into his battle phase and orders Injection Fairy Lily to attack Vorse Raider. He pays 2,000 life points to increase Fairy Lily's attack by 3,000. With 3,400, Vorse Raider is destroyed. After the battle, Lecter activates his set quick play spell, Seebeck's Blessing. This card increases his life points by the same amount of damage he just inflicted to Kyber, and so he gains 1,900 life points. Following this, since the battle is over, Injection Fairy Lily's attack returns to normal. Lecter ends his turn by setting Fire Princess face down, which I think is a very silly play. Why? Well, first of all, as tempting as it is to, why not just summon that Fire Princess into attack mode before the battle phase and use it to destroy Twin-Headed Behemoth so that it will come back weaker? The problem with this play is that if Kyber gets out 2 decent monsters on his next turn, he can destroy Fire Princess, putting Lecter's life points below 2,000. He can then destroy Fairy Lily since it can't use its effect to defend itself. So that move we don't like, but there's a better move. The superior play is to summon Fire Princess into face-up defense before the battle phase. The reason why is 1, it has 1500 defense, meaning Kyber's Behemoth can't attack over it on the next turn. But more importantly, because it has the effect, each time Lecter gains life points, this card inflicts 500 damage to Kyber. This means when Seebeck's Blessing activates, we can burn Kyber for 500 damage, putting him to 700 life points. And spoilers, Lecter is going to gain life points twice on his next turn, so theoretically on his next turn he could have dealt a further 1000 burn damage and won the duel. Would this play have won for Lecter? Well, let's play it out. It's Kyber's turn, and he draws a Wingbeat of a Giant Dragon. Realizing he's cooked next turn, he normal summons his Wicked Worm Beast and then uses his Deckmaster ability to normal summon an additional dragon monster at the cost of 500 life points. He tributes Worm Beast and Behemoth to summon Hyozanryu. Hyozanryu is strong enough to attack and destroy Fire Princess. Kyber is forced to end his turn here. It's Lecter's turn and he draws. He gains some life points thanks to his cards, then he just attacks Hyozanryu and wins the duel. So yes, just leaving Fire Princess face up on the field here would have been enough to win him the duel. Huge misplay, Lecter, you could have won. Anyway, getting back to the true timeline, it's Kyber's turn, and he draws a Wingbeat of a Giant Dragon. Kyber's current hand consists of Pot of Greed, Polymerization, Cave Dragon, Defusion, Wingbeat of a Giant Dragon, the Wicked Worm Beast, and Hyozanryu. Kyber, wary of going on the offensive with Lily's effect and Lecter's set cards, decides to play slow. He sets his Wicked Worm Beast in face down defense and then ends his turn. As his turn comes to an end, Lecter activates his set Life Absorbing Machine. Due to this continuous trap, now during each of his standby phases, he will gain half the life points he paid during his previous turn. And so it's Lecter's turn, and he draws Satellite Cannon. Lecter gains 500 life points from Solemn Wishes due to drawing a card. He then gains a further 1000 life points thanks to Life Absorbing Machine, since he paid 2,000 life points to use Fairy Lily's effect on his previous turn. Lecter tributes his set Fire Princess to summon Satellite Cannon. Its effect is it can't be destroyed by a battle, and you receive no battle damage from monsters that are level 7 or lower. During each of your end phases, place 1 charge counter on this card. When this card declares an attack, its attack becomes 1000 times the number of charge counters on this card. After attacking, remove all charge counters from it. Lecter moves into his battle phase and orders Injection Fairy Lily to attack Twin-Headed Behemoth. He boosts its attack by paying 2000 life points. Twin-Headed Behemoth is destroyed. However, due to its effect, it returns back to the field into defense with its attack and defense reduced to 1000. Lecter moves into his main phase 2 and sets Spring of Rebirth face down and then activates his emergency provisions. This lets him send any number of spells and traps on the field to the grave to increase his life points by 1000 for each. He sends Spring of Rebirth to gain 1000 life points. Lecter ends his turn. As he does, Satellite Cannon gains its first charge counter. Right! This was a terrible turn by Lecter. What he should have done instead was flip summon Fire Princess. Use Fire Princess to attack and destroy Twin-Headed Behemoth. It's destroyed but then returns back to the field into defense. Use Fairy Lily to destroy either the set Wicked Worm Beast or finish off Behemoth. Main phase 2, use Emergency Provisions to gain 1000 life points. Fire Princess deals 500 damage to Kyber thanks to its effect. Tribute Fire Princess to summon Satellite Cannon. Or, better yet, just keep Fire Princess on the field. Satellite Cannon's weakness is level 8 monsters. Seto Kyber is famous for playing 3 level 8 Blue Eyes White Dragons as his ultimate boss monster, and his deck kind of revolves around it, so it's very safe to assume you're going to get hard countered by one of these monsters at some point in the duel. So in my opinion, go the burn route. It's Kyber's turn, and he draws Heavy Storm. He activates it immediately, attempting to destroy all spells and traps on both sides of the field. However, Lecter reveals his set trap that he's had on the field this entire game, Imperial Order. Now, as long as this card remains face up on the field, spell cards no longer work. However, to keep this card on the field, Lecter must pay 700 life points during each of his standby phases. If he doesn't, this card destroys itself. Heavy Storm's effect is negated. With Jinzo as Deckmaster and Imperial Order on the field, 2/3 of the entire dual monster game mechanics are unavailable to Kyber. Kyber, with no more plays, reluctantly ends his turn. It's Lecter's turn, and he draws a mysterious card. Lecter gains 500 life points thanks to Solemn Wishes, and a further 1000 thanks to Life Absorbing Machine. Lecter chooses to pay the 700 life point maintenance cost for Imperial Order. He moves into his battle phase and uses Satellite Cannon to attack Kyber's set monster. With only one charge counter, its attack becomes 1000. Luckily, Kyber's set monster is revealed to be Wicked Worm Beast with only 700 defense. It's destroyed. Due to declaring an attack with Satellite Cannon, it loses its charge counter. Lecter chooses not to attack Twin-Headed Behemoth with Fairy Lily, since that would lower his life points below 2000, meaning he can't use its effect to defend and would be at a huge risk. So instead, Lecter ends his turn. As he does, Satellite Cannon gains a charge counter. It's Kyber's turn, and he draws Spirit Ryu. With all the pieces in place, Kyber goes on the attack. He switches Twin-Headed Behemoth into attack and then summons his Spirit Ryu. Kyber enters his battle phase and orders Spirit Ryu to attack Injection Fairy Lily. Lecter in response pays 2000 life points to boost its attack by 3000. Kyber in response activates Spirit Ryu's effect. During the damage step, he can discard any number of dragon-type monsters in his hand to increase its attack by 1000 for each. Kyber discards his Hyozan Ryu and Cave Dragon to increase its attack by 2000. While this isn't enough to attack over Lily, it does mean Kyber will survive the battle. Spirit Ryu is destroyed. Also, fun fact, when Kyber milled for when he had too many cards in his hand, he got rid of that Thunder Dragon. If he would have used its effect, added 2 Thunder Dragons to his hand and got rid of, say, defusion or polymerization, if he didn't plan on fusing or anything like that, he could have had 4 or 3 dragons in his hand, which would have been enough to get over Injection Fairy Lily. Fun fact. Would it have worked out that way? I don't know. It might not have, but just fun fact anyway. After the battle, Injection Fairy Lily's attack returns to normal. Now, without enough life points to boost Lily's attack again, Kyber attacks it with Twin-Headed Behemoth. Injection Fairy Lily is destroyed. Kyber ends his turn. Do you see now what I meant, Lecter, by holding on to that emergency provisions and using it reactively? You could have used it right now, got rid of the Spring of Rebirth that was face down on the field, and probably Life Absorbing Machine. You would have gained 2000 life points, more than enough to use the effect again. Kyber couldn't respond to it, and he would have taken over 2000 damage and would have lost the duel right here. So, fun fact, could have won this way as well. It's Lecter's turn, and he draws Dream Sprite. Lecter gains 500 life points thanks to Solemn Wishes, followed by 350 from Life Absorbing Machine since he only paid for Imperial Order on his last turn. Speaking of, with only 1,650 life points left, Lecter chooses not to pay the maintenance cost of Imperial Order, and so it destroys itself. Let's see if getting rid of this card was a mistake or if he really needed those life points. Lecter sets his Dream Sprite face down and then enters his battle phase and orders Satellite Cannon to crash into Twin-Headed Behemoth. With one charge counter, its attack becomes 1,000. Only Twin-Headed Behemoth is destroyed in the battle, since Satellite Cannon can't be destroyed in battle by monsters while level 7 or below. Satellite Cannon's charge counters return to 0 after the battle. Lecter ends his turn. As he does, Satellite Cannon gains one charge counter. It's Kyber's turn, and he draws Possessed Dark Soul. With Imperial Order gone, Kyber finally activates his Pot of Greed. He draws and gets two mysterious cards. I assume they're just monsters, possibly weak monsters. I'll explain why later. So I'm just gonna say Saggy the Dark Clown and that Gremlin card. What's it called? Dark Gremlin. Why not? Kyber summons his Possessed Dark Soul and then uses it to attack Lecter's set monster. It's revealed to be Dream Sprite. Due to its effect, when attacked, Lecter can redirect the attack to another monster. He redirects it to Satellite Cannon. Due to Satellite Cannon's effect, it is not destroyed by the battle and no damage is dealt. Kyber ends his turn. It's Lecter's turn and the penultimate turn of the duel. He draws and gets another mysterious card. Forget about penultimate turn t-shirt. I need to get a mysterious card t-shirt 100%. Everyone's got mysterious cards lately. What the hell? Lecter gains 500 life points from Solemn Wishes. With no plays, Lecter ends his turn here. As he does, Satellite Cannon gains a second charge counter. Didn't have any plays. That is a big fat lie. What he could have done was Deckmaster summon himself, Yugioh, to the field. Use Yugioh to attack Possessed Dark Flame and destroy it. This attack will do 1,200 damage. Kyber only has 800 life points left, so that will be game. And even if this monster was in defense, he could have just destroyed it with Yugioh and then attacked directly with Satellite Cannon, which would have done 1,000 damage, and that also would have been game. Not only does Kyber not have any back row, so there's no reason not to Deckmaster summon Yugioh. Trap cards wouldn't have worked even if there were a bunch of set cards on the field anyway. So yes, this is another one of those cases where people don't use their Deckmasters in the way they're supposed to use their Deckmasters. Like, this is the perfect opportunity to summon it and just win. Lecter didn't do it. He's had multiple opportunities to win this duel, and he just hasn't done it. It's very embarrassing. It's Kyber's turn, and the final turn of the duel. He draws and gets Blue Eyes White Dragon. Kyber sets his Saggy the Dark Clown face down, and then activates his Lord of D's Deckmaster ability. He pays 500 life points so he can summon a Dragon-type monster. He tributes Possessed Dark Flame and Saggy the Dark Clown to summon Blue Eyes White Dragon. Kyber enters his battle phase and orders Blue Eyes White Dragon to attack Satellite Cannon. The attack animation is pretty damn awesome. I love the way it looks flying up into the sky and everything's so cool. Since Blue Eyes is a level 8 monster, it can successfully attack Satellite Cannon. And since Satellite Cannon can only gain attack points when it attacks, that means not only is it destroyed, but Lecter takes 3,000 damage, dropping his life points to 0 and winning Kyber the duel. First of all, super silly of Lecter, who was boasting this entire duel. I know your whole deck, Mr. Kyber. I know exactly what you got. I know what you're going to do. He placed 3 copies of level 8 Blue Eyes White Dragon. How he didn't anticipate this, I'll never know. So silly boss monster to have. I also think Satellite Cannon's way too slow, even for this era. I'm not a fan. So to answer the question that we posed today, could Lecter have won this duel? Yes. I do think he should have focused more on his burn Fire Princess strategy. Play 3 copies of that. Try and like stall to stop this monster from being destroyed or something, and then just keep burning when you're healing and stuff. I think that would have been a cool play. And with that, I just want to say thank you very much to my Patreons for choosing today's duel analysis. Want to decide what I cover next? Well, join the community on Patreon. Leave your requests in the latest polls, and then on the next poll, you'll see them in the next vote. Not only that though, you can also see commentary tracks for all my latest videos. Want to hear about the making of this video, things I did, mistakes I made? Well, check that out, and I talk all about it over there. I'll leave a link to the Patreon down below, so if anybody fancies it, you're more than welcome. But other than that, thank you all for watching. Catch you later. Bye, everyone.